You're skating at BU, even though you went to Northeastern.
Oh my God, I've been skating at BU. I skate at Harvard. It's like terrible.
And
It's
it's
awful.
and because they take the ice out at Matthews during the summer. Do they still do that?
Seriously, yeah. Oh yeah. Like like we stopped by and they had like the basketball court up and everything. Like it's such a shame, man.
I know, man. They're putting the handcuffs on the alumni. Can't let them train
Seriously.
at the barn.
You get any dirty looks in those buildings?
For sure, yeah. Because like at Harvard, a lot of it was with like all the Harvard alums. I get on. It's like Rathbone, Aberzizi, like Farrell, like all these guys that played at Harvard, and I'm like, I'm so out of place there.
Yeah, right. They probably
Zebo,
look up to you. Bean pot
you
champ.
remember the yeah, you remember the rink guy Greg, the tall one with the blonde hair? He had like the red mark on his neck.
Oh yeah.
So first day I go to skate and he's sitting in the office. I was like, Greg, what are you doing here? And he had like a Harvard polo on. He's like, oh, I work here now. And I'm like, bro, like you go from Northeastern to Harvard, like it's the same thing.
Yeah. What?
But yeah, it's
Wild.
cool to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna do an intro and then I'll pop right into this thing.
Perfect.
Joining us today for episode 101 is the guy who will take you to skating 101, straight from Kimball Union to Northeastern, now with the Montreal Canadiens, from Haverhill, Massachusetts. Jordan Harris, welcome to the Buzz Pod.
Thank you very much. That was kind of an elite intro. Thank you. It's very nice of you.
Man, I sat down and I'm like, I got to prepare an intro for Jordo. I just started writing, joining us today, and I literally didn't stop. It just came right to me.
That's unreal. It's not a surprise at all.
No, but it's actually weird to say in the intro, a Boston kid playing in Montreal. So I want to start off with that. What is that experience like playing in Montreal?
It's really cool. It's different, especially like the French influence up there, and you kind of feel a little out of place at first, because all the roadsides are in French, and like our whole staff is bilingual, so it's really really cool to be able to like learn that aspect of the French side and just the whole history. I mean, of the Habs in the city and whatnot. But I mean, everyone couldn't be nicer. Like all super welcoming. Obviously a historic franchise, but like all my buddies give me grief whenever I come home. Like all like the parents I grew up with, like the kids, they're all like, really? Like you have to go there? But it's really been awesome, and we have a great group of guys and support staff there. So I couldn't be happier.
Playing in Montreal, do you have a favorite restaurant in the city or a favorite pregame spot that you find yourself always going to?
Real quick, I played for Rimouski for 2 years. It's like obviously 5 hours from Montreal, but I played with a couple guys from Montreal, spent many summers there, and I actually played half a season at Concordia University in Montreal. I lived in NDG and like about 12 minutes from downtown. So in my opinion, like I'm from Miami, Florida, but Montreal is the best city in the world, especially for hockey players, I think, but just overall the best city in the world, especially for a young guy like you as well. But for me, my favorite restaurant is the Warehouse, because it's I don't know if you know about it, but it's right on like the main street where they have the picture of the guy. You know what I'm talking about? The big picture of the guy on the wall. It's near the Bell Center. It's downtown. I'll get you the street name. But the Warehouse, it's like $10 Canadian for every single meal. Big meals too, so you can just order a bunch of meals. It's unbelievable. But
That's huge.
but what's your go-to restaurant? Like there's a ton of spots there.
There's a lot. There's a lot of good food. Like you said, it's a very young city, and a lot of really really good restaurants. Like we've been to Moretti a few times. Have you ever been to Moretti?
Of course, Moretti's
Yeah,
great pasta place.
exactly. Really really good Italian. I'm a sucker for Italian, so
Moretti,
I'd probably go
you know
there.
the one
Yeah,
in Griffintown?
yeah, the one in Griffintown. Yeah,
Awesome, great spot.
yeah. We'll be living kind of near there this year, so I'll probably be stopping by a bunch. And we had one of our end of the year dinners there. And so yeah, really good food.
Yeah. The street is Crescent. My wife's actually listening.
Okay.
Crescent Street with the
Okay.
Warehouse. One of the main streets downtown.
Mhm.
There's also one called Hidden Fish. It's a sushi place, and it's like really small, like very quaint. You wouldn't expect anything from the outside.
Yeah, write that
Dude,
down.
I don't know that one, but I got one for you. K2 Sushi. All you can eat sushi.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I've spent like 4 hours there. Like when I walk in there, they're like, "Oh shit, this
Yeah,
guy's."
like here we go.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
about to eat half of our inventory.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
K2 Sushi.
that's good to know. Thank you.
Going back to the hockey side in Montreal, you say the coaches are bilingual, guys are speaking in French, the street signs are in French. Are you currently learning the language?
A little bit, piece by piece. I think it's really important, and it's something that I want to do too, because like you play in a city, and there's a hockey aspect, right? But there's also the life aspect. You want to connect with the people and get to know everyone, and have an impact. Not just on the ice, like off the ice as well. So trying to piece together the French slowly, but it helps a lot having the guys at the rink, because then like you have greetings, and you'll speak little things in French, and you hear guys talking. So very slowly but surely.
Mhm.
Dude, just keep trying. Like they love it when English guys try with an English accent. Like they just love the effort, you know? So just keep
Yeah,
flinging it around.
for sure. Like sometimes I feel like I sound so stupid trying to speak
You
French,
probably
with
do.
my
We
accent. I'm
do. We do.
probably butchering words, but it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the people up there, to like I said, be part of the city and the community.
Mhm. You talk about making an impact on and off the ice. Is there anything you do in the community in Montreal to make an impact off the ice?
For sure, yeah. So been trying a bunch. Like last year I wasn't really sure what to expect, and like, as you go into training camp, and like you're just trying to make the team. Like you're trying to dial in and focus on what you got to do to perform on the ice. And then as the year went along and you settle in a bit, like doing more community outreach, I did a lot for like Black History Month. So like we made some videos and some cool stuff, and we were able to meet the creator of the jersey for like our Black History Night jersey that we wore in warm-ups. So able to chat with the creator of like the art piece that we put on the logo, and meet a bunch. And like me and my dad did a segment, just talking about, because my dad's half Black, so like talking about how he grew up in hockey. And I think moving forward, being more settled in, like we'll be able to do more individualized stuff. So like reaching out, there's a group called, I believe it's called Best Buddies, where you get to like actually meet the children and have more of like a one-on-one connection, kind of like Make-A-Wish almost,
Mhm.
um, and then just we work with our foundation to kind of set up certain things we want to focus on, like minority players in hockey, going to school, working with younger children. So it's kind of building, but it's a huge thing that I'd like to get my hands on more.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds great. It's great for everybody involved. They get exposed to, their childhood role models. You mentioned your dad. Let's talk about him and being from a hockey house with your brother. What was that?
A black hockey house, which is not as common, right?
Yeah, it's not as common as you guys
I gotta
know.
connect you, by the way, with my boy Boko, who is running a lot of camps with Duclair, and they do one in Florida, or they did one in Florida because Duclair was in Florida, but now he's in San Jose. But they did one in Montreal as well, and
Okay.
they're really heavily involved in like getting black kids into hockey, and like their camp is obviously open to everyone, but as black hockey players, they're trying to make everyone feel welcome to the game and grow the game for the black community. So I think that sounds like something that you're kind of trying to do as well.
Yeah, definitely. And um, I'm pretty grateful for how I grew up, being exposed to, color, and like, my dad was adopted. The family that adopted him, it couldn't look more unlike him. Like everyone's on the shorter side, and they're all Jewish, and super
Hey, I'm
smart.
a
Like
Jew as
not
well.
not athletic at all, and like, but they're the best.
Neither
And
is he.
No, I'm an athletic Jew. Come on.
and but they mean so much to me, and just because maybe they didn't play sports, just to be able to see like that they welcome my dad, and there were two other children adopted in the family. They welcome them without seeing color or backgrounds, and it's just with open arms and love, and it's such a tight-knit family. And then going through the ranks in hockey, I just feel like that helps. Like, hockey is such a like a team sport, like no one does it by themselves, and you find like the bad kids get weeded out along the way. As the ranks grow, like being a good person is such a huge thing in hockey, and it goes hand in hand with what you can do on the ice. So growing up that way with my dad, and being able to see different perspectives of life and race and backgrounds, really, I think, helped shape me in wanting to give back, to the hockey community.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome story. So you're essentially Jewish now, like me. So welcome, bro. That's awesome.
For sure, thank you.
And do you do Shabbat ever?
Yeah. So we used to do Passover in my uncle's house every year.
Nice.
And our family kind of split apart a bit. Like, everyone moved their own way, so we haven't been able to as a family in a couple years. But it was always like my favorite memory growing up.
Dude, I love that, man. That's awesome to hear. That's awesome.
I gotta mention your dad, Peter is his name, was drafted into the NHL as a goaltender in the infamous 8th round.
Oh yeah.
8th
Yeah, they don't
round.
have that.
That's where I would have been taken, but they took it out. They snubbed me.
Oh God.
What was it like growing up with your dad and your brother, because they both played, and what was his influence like in the hockey side of like the day-to-day training? Because I know he's a very intelligent hockey mind.
Yeah. I wouldn't tell him that he is, because I think it would go to his head a bit. But he is, like, he still coaches. Like, he coaches 2010 Islanders to this day, and like has no affiliation with any of the kids on the team. He just does it because he loves it, and he's happy doing it. And he was always my coach, like always me and my brother's assistant coach. Because I don't think he wanted to deal with like the parents and stuff. There's some crazy parents out there, as you guys know. But the thing that I was thinking about this the other day, actually, the thing that I really appreciate the most looking back is just he was always there, at every game, practices, like always, even in snowstorm, when practices got canceled, always like, okay, let's go. There's still ice. And he worked long hours, him and my mom, and he was always there. And I think that's what stuck with me the most, and what I want to do, hopefully for my kids one day. Just that he cared. He didn't know every intricacy of hockey. Wasn't a Hall of Fame hockey player by any means. But like his passion for the game really, I think, helped fuel me and my brother. And that meant a lot for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, you carry a lot of passion with you. And you said your dad works long hours. I remember telling you, because you were working long hours, I'd see you after practice every single day in the gym, lifting, getting extra work in. And probably after, I don't know, the 50th day in a row, I'm like, hey, Jordo, like, aren't you tired? You're like, nah, I got some extra energy, so I'm just gonna burn it today. Where does that dog mentality come from? It's gotta come from him, right?
Yeah, somewhat. And I see that in you, I'd say the same exact thing back to you. And I want to give a shout out to you, Zebo. And I know, not everyone's able to play up with you personally and see the work that you put in every day. But a lot of that, I saw in you and learned from you. And as a captain, like a lot of things being captain at Northeastern, I wanted to do, just as I saw you do. So I want to give you props, because you got that dog in you too.
That's awesome.
And I don't know, man. I was talking about this I did a camp here in Haverhill with some younger kids, like some high school kids, and they just asked about like my story and stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, like, internally what you can do, like as a hockey player and a person, you want to be able to live up to that potential. And that's kind of what I've always seen, in myself, is like those practices, where I didn't do as well as I thought I could over the games. Or, you see like stupid lists come out and ranks of players and teams made and all this stuff. And like every single time I've seen something, I just like carry it with me. Like every single team I haven't made, every single ranking that I haven't been, um, high enough that I think I should have been on that list. Like every single battle that I lose in the corner and I see like some guy coming out with the puck, that I should have on my stick instead. Like that just sticks with me. And I've done a better job with like recovery, because I know you can't just go. And now, especially with pro hockey, like it catches up to you. But as I've gotten a little older, like you start to feel like the bumps and bruises more. So
Yeah.
I've had to kind of bring back the throttle a little bit. But just that drive of like, I know what I can do, and I want to get there. Like I want, the success I see these people having, and like they're all human, everyone puts their pants on one leg at a time. Um, so it's just like, I don't know, I just want to have that success I see in other people. And that's what kind of has fueled me over the years. And it just like, it grows and grows and grows. Like I just finished my first year pro hockey, and I don't think I've ever been as hungry to compete and get ready for camp and, continue to grow as a player.
Absolutely. That's very well said. And
Yeah.
that's going to touch a lot of kids that listen to this, and a lot of people that listen to this can relate to that, because I feel the same way. You know what you can do
But
internally. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. There's that process of getting there, and what you are going to do for yourself every day to accomplish that. It's got to be to the highest level and the most you can do for yourself, because you just believe that it's going to work out at the end of the day. And
exactly.
and you said you want to get there. Well, you are there. You got there. Now it's about staying there, in which congratulations on the little extension for yourself. That is well deserved. What what is the most what is the biggest difference you felt in that jump from Northeastern to your first year pro?
Thank you. Yeah. And thank you for the kind words. And that's the other thing too. It's like you say, like, you got there, and like played in the NHL, but it's like, okay, that's great, but like, what's next? Like,
The cup.
seriously, like, what's next? Like, now it's like, okay, now you have your peer group set, and then, okay, how can I be better than this guy? How can you continue to climb? It's just like, as soon as that fire dies out, I know it's my time and I'm done hockey. But like, I don't see that
Mm-mm.
happening anytime soon. So, um, but I'd say the biggest step is just like the mental sharpness, like every single day. It's like, and they're obviously a lot older guys in pro hockey compared to college. And I wouldn't say like the physical speed. And I want to see your opinion on this. I wouldn't say the physical speed is that much greater. If anything, it's like yes, there are bigger boys maybe in pro hockey than you see in everyday college hockey, but just everyone, like every little thing is done with such a purpose, like compared to college. Like every little pass is done for a reason. It's not just, you don't just make a pass to make a pass. Like you make a pass because you think that player has an opportunity to advance the puck and get going up ice. And it's like, I learned that a lot from our coaches this year, is like have a purpose with everything that you do. And everyone's so sharp every day. And so it's like, you might not practice for long, but you better be sharp in that 30-40 minutes that you're on the ice. In the game, it's like college, it's very top heavy, I feel like, compared to pro. Whereas pro, like everyone can make plays with first or fourth line. Yes, some lines may have different identities, but like everyone can make plays at the end of the day. Like the fourth liners in the NHL were superstars in college. Um, so it's just every time you're on the ice, like focus and know what you want to do with the puck and really be, mentally alert. And that's tough to do throughout 80 games. I feel like that's what the difference between the great players and the average players.
What was that like playing for Marty St. Louis?
It's really cool, just to be able to like see in his head a bit and have him explain some stuff. Like there's some things that him and the coaching staff explained this year about how they want the team to play, but also how they want me to play that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. Like it's really, really cool. Like we didn't have a set breakout in college, and now going through a set breakout, like little stuff like that, like knowing the timing of passes so that when the player that you're passing to gets the puck, they have a window to be able to advance the puck, like knowing who has speed, swing in transition, and how to get them the puck. Like knowing your options before you even get the puck and knowing what you want to do with it. Just like really, really cool stuff for hockey nerds that add up as the game goes on. And they really do make a big difference, like those little things.
I wanna backtrack a little. After your senior year in college, you signed in the NHL and played 10 games. What was your NHL debut like? And saw you got your first goal in that stint. How was that?
Yeah, it was cool. So the first game was in Tampa, which is wild because like the Lightning have had an unreal past 5 or 6 years. So like
Right.
I remember first period, they scored, and I'm on the bench and I'm just looking at like them go down the line, and it's like Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman. I'm like, you kidding me with this? Like, oh my god, these guys are legends. And it's just like we end up winning in a shootout, so that was really cool. And I got a chance to play in OT, and so like you're really nervous at first. You kind of settle in the game and just play off your instincts, but that was really cool. And then to get my first goal was the last game of the season. We ended up winning, like I think we won 10-2. So I think everyone forgot about my goal. Cole had a hat trick too, so
I didn't forget about it.
everyone forgot about my goal, which is all right. But that was cool.
Who was it against? And like, do you know the goalie? What kind of goal was it? Like just shot from the point?
It was against Florida. It was I
That's
forget
my
who was
squad.
The team that went to the cup.
That's my squad.
it was.
That'd be good.
I forget. I think they sat a lot of their starters in that game.
Perfect.
I took a 1-T from the middle, went off the defenseman's shin pad or his foot and ran it in. But I'm
Unreal.
like, I'll take it.
Good accuracy.
Like I meant to do it.
Is there anybody that you played against in the NHL that you really looked up to as a role model, and you just kind of realized like, holy cow, I'm on the same ice as this guy right now? Or was it those Hedman, Cooch, Stammer, Point?
That's a good question. Honestly, like a lot of guys you just like catch video of over the years. Like one guy that I've been really impressed with is Morrissey, Josh Winnipeg, and like I'd watch a lot of his clips in college. And I'm like, this guy's nasty. Like, how's he not, one of the best defensemen in the NHL? And then this year he puts up, I don't even know how many points, like really took over. And I was like, good for him, honestly, because he's a stud player. And like, it's been really cool because in the summer, like a lot of the Bruins guys stay around here. So going into my last year of college, I was able to start skating with them. So like skating with Marchand and McAvoy and Grizzly and Chara was out there, and even now like Bergeron is still wheeling around the ice. And so just seeing those guys every day in and out, like Marchand is the hardest worker every single day. It doesn't matter like who he's up against, whatever drill we're doing. Like say we're doing a simple skill drill, he'll add like one or two things to make it a little more difficult. Just like a couple things like creatively just to make it a little more difficult. And I'm like, that's what makes him great. It's an everyday pursuit. And so that's really cool.
That's really
for sure.
That's contagious.
Yeah.
That rubs off on you.
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, that's one thing that you learned, right? Like from pros right away, kind of early in your career. Like what would you say is a big takeaway or a couple things you learned this season after your first full season in the National Hockey League? I mean, way more games than you've ever played in a season. So like what are some things that you learned just about being a pro, or some things you picked up from some vets on your team?
Definitely, yeah. I'd say one of the, like, my biggest challenges was being able to, like, figure out the travel schedule and figure out, like, how to get my sleep. Like, I wasn't always the best sleeper, um, especially after games. Like, you guys know, it's hard to turn your mind off after games. I think, like, I've talked to so many players about this, and they're like, "Yeah, man, same." You know, you just gotta stay up and go to sleep whenever. But it's like you play so many games, you get in late. It's like you need to take advantage of getting good sleep. So that's been a thing I've been focused on this summer is like figuring out kind of how to dial in my sleep, like taking naps. Like I was never a big nap taker in college, but it's important. And it goes a long way whenever you can catch up on that stuff. So, figuring out how your body works to travel, like taking care of your body, like I told you guys before, like, and Zebo knows, like I was always go, 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 go. And like, yes, that's important and you always want to get better as a player, but being able to know like when to put the brakes on, um, that's huge. And that doesn't mean you need to be lazy by any means, but just like knowing when to turn it on and off. Because it's a long season and I feel like it really can get you mentally if you're not able to kind of flip that switch a bit.
What are some things you do in the off time? You're a college guy, you read books, or are you more of like study the game on film or just like watch Netflix type thing? I mean, that show Quarterback. I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff, but
Sick. Yeah, I watch it, of course.
yeah, sick. And
Um,
yeah, what kind of stuff you into?
yeah, a little hockey, honestly, like not too much though, especially in the summer. Now seeing like how long the season is. Um,
Golf?
a little bit, honestly, not as much as I'd like. We've been playing a lot of pickleball, which has been like,
That's
yeah, our thing this summer. Yeah, I see you guys nodding. It's like it's so much fun. Um, so a lot of pickleball, and just seeing like buddies I grew up with around here, like seeing my family. Like we're not living at home, so we try to see my family once a week. Um, again, a little golf, good amount of pickleball, and just chill, like catching up, like going to different events, like a couple of charity games here and there. Going down to Jersey, I'm seeing Julian, Zach to play
Yes,
charity, just playing a charity tournament this weekend. So,
that's
it's a
awesome.
little bit of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out Julian Kislin is who he's talking about. That was Jordo's roommate,
Yeah.
one of our best friends at school. Um, so they always say never forget your roots, never forget where you came from. I want to talk about your roots. Kimball Union. Talk about why Kimball Union, what made Jordan Harris the player he is at Kimball Union.
Mm.
And also a quick shout out to Dennis Asano. That's the only person I know that also went to Kimball.
Yeah, I played with Dennis for a couple of years, I think. He's had a nice little career for himself. Happy for him.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Kimball Union, I think, was one of the best decisions that me and my family have ever made in terms of hockey and just like overall maturity and growing up. Like, have you guys ever seen the school or been or anything?
No.
If you know, so it's like it's up in New Hampshire. It's about 2 hours north of here, kind of near Dartmouth. It's 350 kids, and like those are some of the best years of my life being there. Like just the community. It's so diverse. Like you have students from all around the world. Like I have buddies from Beijing. I have buddies from, Scandinavia, buddies from India, Asia, like everywhere. Athletes, non-athletes, like they do a great job of integrating like the athletes into just the general public. Like no one sees kids and been like, oh, that kid's a hockey player. Like, yeah, they might dress and talk like hockey players, whatever, but like you're doing, um, all the same regular stuff. Like you're just a normal student, and like that's what's great because it develops you as a person first, and then a hockey player. Like from a hockey standpoint, the coach there, Tim Whitehead, I don't have enough good things to say about him. He coached at UMaine, like led him to Frozen Fours. One of the best coaches I've ever played for. But again, like he cares more about the person than the player. And like the amount of kids and alums that I played with, that just give him a call and say, "Hey, Tim, like, can you put in a good word for me here, whatever school, D3, D1?" And like, he will never say no to that. And he'll even reach out on his own to help, promote his players. And so I can't thank him enough, for what he's done for me in my hockey career. And like, I got a chance to play with my brother there for a year, like, still so close to many of the guys. So, and it's boarding school at the end of the day too, right? You're away from your family. And that makes you grow up again as a player in person. But it's such a good community. Like I would send my hopefully eventual kid there in a heartbeat without any doubt.
Yeah, that's awesome. I went to
Yeah,
prep school too. It's a one in a lifetime experience. Like
for sure.
people that didn't experience it, they don't know, but it's just like it's like college at 14 and you have fun without the stuff that gets you in trouble. Like you're just young, innocent kids, like just having a blast playing tag and stuff like that, it's just
Like, yeah,
great.
even then, like so we would have to do so it's trimesters, right? So it's fall, winter, spring. I don't know if it was the same for you there, Nick, but so like in the fall it's just weightlifting was our activity. So like we would have pretty much our whole team in there, like throwing weight around. We're 17 years old. Like, yeah, some of the form isn't the best, but like everyone's competing, like everyone's buzzing. Like
Yeah.
everyone comes down the weekends, plays a tournament, comes back. During the season, we're skating on our only day off, just playing like 3-on-3 on the rink. Like,
Damn.
like you said, it's college, but like I think we had 8 D1 players off our team. Like it's very competitive, but it's just like a blast. Like you're with your buddies all day and everyone's working.
Dude,
And
yeah,
it's
time
great.
off. You want to go shoot pucks. You want to go play horse
Seriously.
shooting in the where we could shoot pucks. You want to go play 3-on-3. Like that's that. I couldn't say. And it's so funny you talk about like the boys in the gym. I went my Bantam year, so I was 14, and the boy. I just like remembered when you said that. Just the boys like lifting their shorts high and
Yeah.
lifting up their, and everyone's like, "Oh, let's go!" Oh, It's so funny because we were all so soft and little. It's almost
It's like stupid. It's like looking back, I'm like, I was such an idiot, like I probably looked like this frowny little kid. But like it was so competitive and fun and everyone just worked.
Mhm.
And that was great.
And the hockey side of Kimball Union, how did you guys do against other prep schools? How did you guys stack up? What is there like, there's not national championship for prep school, is there? It's like states, or how do you become a,
Yeah. So there's like New England, the league's called NABSAC, so it's like New England Preparatory School, I think athletic conference maybe.
okay, that
So
makes
like
sense.
our league, or I guess like you have different leagues,
Yeah,
right? And then but the whole group as a whole is like New England.
yeah.
And we won that, like we won, so they do it into 3 tournaments, like top 8 plays in a tournament, right? From all the prep schools, and then do a small school and a large school. So we won like everything. So we were the best prep school that there is.
Nice.
My junior and senior year, and then they won the year after I left. So like we were the best prep school like that there was. Like we went out and we'd play Shattuck and be better, like if not the same as them. Like it was very, very good hockey. Like in those championship tournaments, you look up in the stands, it's just all black coats, like all college pro scouts, like probably 100 of them watching the games. Like it's very good hockey.
So you guys played like outside of the prep because Shattuck plays like AAA, right?
Yeah, so we would like do tournaments sometimes and like travel a bit, but most of it was New England prep.
Okay, cool. And you're a 2000, like young cat playing in the National Hockey League at 5'11", 190 it says. I don't know if you put on some size, but um
Um,
how would you describe your game?
um, I also wouldn't say I'm that young. Like we have Slavkovsky on our team, and he's 18, and it's just wild, like how young some of these guys are.
I actually
Um,
love that. I love having younger guys on the team, and even when you're like, especially when you're a young guy, because it makes you feel like an old, but you're not an old guy. Like you're still a young guy. You're 20.
uh, um, my game, I definitely say, especially like as I've gotten older, I think it's huge for me to start defensively first, like kill plays as soon as I can. I've always taken a lot of pride in the D zone first. So killing plays, like like I've been working on kind of that edge, like being tougher to play against in the corners. And then join the rush, like offensively, like um I always try to work on the offensive side as well. Um but I think it's always been defensive first for me, and just using, my skating and stick and intelligence. Because I am not a bruiser. I'm not one of those 6'3" defensemen who can just shove anyone around in the corner.
Yeah,
So
I
I have
don't
to
know.
find that.
You're pretty strong, Jordo. I think you could throw some people around.
I don't know. There's some big boys out there. Um, but like I try to find the edge somewhere else, and then add, strength, and add that edge a little bit on top of it. But I definitely think it all starts with skating and stick positioning, and trying to outthink,
Uh,
guys.
yeah, I would agree with that completely. You are hard to play against. You kill plays. You join the rush. You're a threat to score. Gosh, I was so happy you were on my team in college.
But
Um,
what do you think? Like, what are some things you just mentioned? You pride yourself in like killing plays and defense first, but obviously you work on joining the rush. And what are some things that you're really trying to hammer, like double down on, let's say this summer, and focus on that you think will help elevate your game this upcoming season?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's all the same stuff. Like I really do think as a player, you need to find what you're great at and be great at that. But then add in tools that can support, your identity as a hockey player. So I think, defensively is my bread and butter, in transition and skating, and adding an offense where I can. But then there's little things like adding in more deception offensively. Um, adding again more of that jam defensively, and just little things like being more consistent um, at those little tricks, and watching these guys at the NHL level, like they're so savvy. Like they add in fakes. They'll go press you and then back off right at the last second when you're gonna pass it. So just adding that consistency of that level that I know I can play at. Again, over 82 games, which is very different in college.
Speaking of jam, I'm wondering if you had any, or if we're gonna see any out of you this season. If you're maybe working on it a little bit in the dark and not telling anyone, and maybe when you add that jam, you'll be ready to go. If someone gives you the old challenge, or what do you think about that? I mean, you guys have that guy Wi-Fi. You guys have Pizzetta who goes heavies as well. But
Yeah.
just wondering, if just selfishly asking, if you're thinking about adding that.
I don't say I have any plans for it. Like, I'm obviously, if someone does something, to our goalie or teammates, whatever, like, I'm not afraid to hop in, by any means. But
Great.
um,
That's all I need
I
to hear.
haven't been taking any boxing classes in the dark or anything. No.
All right. All right.
So you finished your Kimball Union career a champion, best prep school ever, and you played five games in Youngstown.
Hmm.
How did that come about? And then yeah, just how did that come about? Those 5 games.
Yeah. So I wasn't supposed to go into Northeastern as a true freshman. So the plan was to graduate from Kimball Union, play year Youngstown, and then go to Northeastern the year after. And like towards the end of my senior year of high school, Kiefer and Madigan were like, "Hey, we'd like you to come in." And so I was like, "Okay, like might as well get some USHL experience in at the end of the year." And that was also like my draft year, and so thought it'd be good to go out, and because scouts want to see how you play against, USHL and older competition and whatnot. Um, so that was good to see. And
How was
then
that? How was the USHL?
it was good. I remember, like, oh my God. So our first weekend, I think, was Des Moines, and I played my first game at home. And it's a cool rink, the Cavelli Center. Like, it's bigger, it's dark. And then the next weekend we go to Green Bay. So we took a 12-hour bus overnight to Green Bay.
Right next to the
I was
Packers
obviously
Stadium?
like, I was obviously a new guy, so like we didn't have a sleeper. All right, we did have a sleeper. We didn't use it for this trip. So I was up in the front, like one seat to myself. I slept like this, sitting upright. I think I maybe got 2 hours of sleep the whole night. So I'm like, oh, this is different, like this is not what I'm used to. So play those 2 games, like play pretty well, and then come back. We probably got back at like who knows what time. Next weekend out to Lincoln, 15 hours overnight. We had the sleeper that weekend, but obviously I'm not getting a bed. So I slept on the floor in front of the bathroom.
People are kicking you
For the
every
trip.
hour or two to get into the bathroom. They're like kicking you, moving you, opening the door.
Yeah, like there's guys stepping over me all night. Again, probably slept 2 to 3 hours at most. And I'm like, whew, this is different, and I know Solo can attest, like it's tough. And I know you did very well for yourself in the USHL. Like you had a great career. And I don't know your backstory, Nico.
I didn't have a great career. I had less points than you in the USHL. I played like I think 12 games, 2 different teams, and then I went major junior because it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah. So it's but it's a good stepping stone to kind of see how it is as a pro. Like
Oh yeah.
It's not that different.
I mean, it's not that different from the ECHL. It's way different from the National League. Yeah.
15-hour buses.
Yeah, 15-hour buses. That's what we do in the coast. You ain't doing
Yeah.
But
But
in terms of the
good.
game, though, for sure, like you've at least for me, my first USHL game, I felt like I was a little kid playing against men.
Almost, yeah. Like I didn't feel super out of place, but I was like, it's definitely different than prep because you go from 16, 17, 18-year-olds to again 19, 20, 21. So, but it was good to see. And then obviously going to college was a lot bigger jump than going from high school to USHL for sure.
So talk about that jump to college because
True freshman played every game.
True freshman played every game. Sounds like me. Whatever. Anyways, true freshman from prep school. I was from USHL, so it's different. But you fit right in right away. One of the best defensemen every night on the ice. Talk about that jump because it didn't seem to affect you that much.
But like it did,
Yeah, I know. It feels different than it looks. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Like it was a big jump, man. It's just like socially on the ice, everything is just so different. Like going from 350 kids in a prep school to 13,000 in the middle of Boston, like, and you're playing with guys like Patty Schul or 25 years old, it was a lot different. Like it honestly took me a half a year to feel like pretty comfortable and settled in. Cause like in high school, yes, they're very good players, but a lot of times I could just skate around guys or, just try to go end to end or whatever. And like you work on stuff but I didn't really know like how hockey was supposed to be played. Like really, truly like how hockey is. And so there's so many little adjustments, like using your size or your body to shield pucks, like reverse hitting. Like no one had ever talked about reverse hitting before I got to college. And I'm seeing like one-on-one corner battles. I'm seeing you go and reverse hit someone and come out with the puck. And I'm like, maybe I should start doing that. I got like Philippe leaning on me, like 6'3", 215, like all these big boys. And so that just took time. But I think if you just watch and be patient, like, and you don't freak out, like you're just like, I will learn, I might not get it now. Like I might not get it in a week, 2 weeks, but like just continue to learn and get better and watch. And I really am grateful for the coaching staff for being patient with me. But it just takes time, man. Unless you're, the special, 1% of the players, it takes time for most guys. And again, socially, very different, because there's, you're going to the bar after games, you're going to class, you're in Boston, you're playing, Hockey East, which is a very good league, of course. So that takes time as well. So just learning how to manage all that took me a little bit. And then going into my second year, I definitely felt a lot more comfortable and ready to just continue that growth.
and you did, absolutely did. Talk about playing in the Bean Pot as a kid from Boston, and then we'll talk about the 2021 Bean Pot. But talk about just playing in the Bean Pot.
Yeah, it's wild. It's funny how everyone who like knows college hockey always just like, oh, the Bean Pot, you guys play in the Bean Pot, it being like a Boston school, but it's so cool. Like, there's nothing really like it, honestly. Like, especially the finals. Like the first game's fun, but the finals is like a whole different animal, as you know. Like you look up in the Northeastern crowds, a quarter of the upper bowl, like everyone's chanting, like packed house, 18,000 people, 17,000 people, and you're repping your school, and there's so much pride because like those guys on the other team, like you see them all the time, you grew up with them, you'll see them on the weekend, whatever, and like it's so cool, man. There's really, I don't think there's any other tournament or venue better in college hockey.
So I fully agree. Unbiased opinion. But
Unbiased, of course, yeah.
So now your second year in the Bean Pot, Northeastern versus BU, double overtime, Jordan Harris, game-winning goal. Talk about that feeling of the overtime power play sifter from the point. You see it go in. You're so tired. You try to throw your gloves and stick, and one glove just stuck on there. Talk about the whole bang scoring the winner. And
well, you were in front, no?
Oh yeah, I was the little bowling ball in front of the net. Goalie couldn't see it.
It's all the screen, man. No wonder an ice burner went in from the points because the goalie couldn't see anything.
That's why he brought up that goal. He wanted you to give a shout out to the screen.
No, but I just want to know about the one glove. It was the end of the power play. I was so gassed. We didn't get zone. It was like our third breakout. I was like, if the puck gets to the point, just please shoot it. You couldn't even get it there in the air. Didn't matter.
Everyone was just so tired, man. I remember just like, I think we were just relieved it was over, like, and that we had won. Like, imagine, like, I couldn't imagine being on the other side of it. Like, I would have been devastated to play that game until 1:30 a.m. and then lose. It's just like
1:30 a.m. How many OTs?
2.
Oh.
But it's not. Yeah, two overtimes, and you're the second game of the night.
Of course. So it's already late. So it's already starting at like
8:45, 8:50.
Probably
later.
Let's start it closer to 9.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's the thing is too, is if you play in the early game, nobody's there. The first 2 periods, you come on the ice for the third, and it's packed, sold out.
So you're getting
Oh yeah. It's the Bean Pot Championship. And what people don't know is when you play in the Bean Pot, you show up to the rink, there's 4 police officers on motorcycles. Okay. Their lights are on the whole time. There's a car in front of the bus, in front of the motorcycles, and a car behind. And you get a police escort through the entire city at 4:00. So there's traffic. There's guys on motorcycles waving cars out of the way. Get out of the way. Northeastern's coming through right through the city. And then you back right into the building. And it's like the most cool feeling ever. You just like get out of
you feel so cool. Like it's just your first time doing it. You're like, oh my God, we're getting a police escort to the game. Like, and then Mad Dog's like, our coach Madigan's just like sitting out there business as usual. Like he's been there 20 times before.
Yeah, the police escort every day to practice, boys. It's
but it's really unique. Like it's just, and you're so geared up. Like I don't think, and I want to know what you think about this, is if we've won a game in between the 2 Beanpot games, because like so it's on a Monday, right?
Yeah.
And then we play on that Friday or Saturday.
Yep.
And like I think all the years that I was at school, we lost that game in between because there's so much emotion and hype around the Beanpot.
0-3. 0-3 I was.
Sure.
We lost Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. 0-3. That Friday game, when you win Monday, it's like that Friday game, you're like, I ain't getting hurt. I'm not doing anything that's gonna mess with my chance to play in the championship game.
Seriously. And like our coaching staff's like, all right, boys, you know, like we've had some tough luck in this game. Like we need to be ready. Automatic L, just because
Yeah.
like everyone's so excited for that Monday game.
We got.
Yeah.
I remember we got waxed before we went up to Maine before you scored the winner. We went up to Maine and got waxed in Maine.
Well, Stroops got hurt too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Our defenseman Struble, I think, sprained his ankle or something. It was not pretty. Like,
Yeah.
it was not pretty. Just the
That's
whole
right.
game.
Nothing good comes from that game in between. And they always mess with the Boston schools and send them somewhere like far away.
For sure, yeah.
But that was whenever I think about Northeastern and the Bean Pie, it just gives me goosebumps. I'm about to go turn on some highlights.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. That's so true.
But
That's great.
you haven't played in the Garden yet in the NHL. Can you guess how many tickets you will have to get for that game when you do make your return and play against the Bruins in the NHL?
Probably a few because we have to pay for away tickets.
I know.
So I don't know how many
Are you going to be making
I'm
cuts?
gonna be able to buy. But so I went to the Garden last year and I hurt my groin, and I came back 2 days later. And I played on that Saturday. We played in Boston on that Thursday. And I played on that Saturday, and I felt so bad for like everyone who would come, like all my friends and family and buddies, and like my coach Whitehead from KUA came and his coaching staff, and so it's pretty devastating not to be out there. But yeah, I think there'll definitely be some tickets bought. Who knows how many, but we'll see.
Yeah.
How is it gonna be cooler for you? I mean, you grew up in Boston. I'm assuming you were a Bruins fan. Is it gonna be any cooler playing against the Bruins now that Lucic is back? Because he's kind of like the OG big bad Bruin that you probably grew up watching.
Yeah, definitely a bit. He ran me last year in Calgary. Like, I don't think I've ever gone hit that hard in my life. So hopefully he lays off a bit this time. We were in Calgary, and I pick up the puck in the corner, and I like pulled up strong side. So like I pulled up out of the corner, like kind of going toward the boards, and I see him coming full steam ahead, and I'm like, uh-oh. You know, like I've seen this on TV for 15 years. Like, I do not want to be the guy, laid up by Lucic on his mixtape on YouTube or whatever. And so I chipped the puck. I don't even know where it went. Like, I think I chipped it high off the glass, like just to get it out. And as soon as I let it go, he came into me full speed. Like, thank God the glass was there. I was like pasted up on the glass. I think he bounced off and knocked the wind out of me completely. Like, I came back to the bench, and everyone is like, dude, are you okay? Like, are you good? Like, are your ribs broken or something? Because he was just chugging downhill. Like, so hopefully we don't have a repeat.
Is that the most intimidating guy you've played against?
There's some tough guys out there, man. Like Reeves out there, you can just like feel his presence on the ice. Like, when he's out there, and when you have the puck in the corner and he's, out there with you. I have a lot of respect for a lot of the guys in the league. Like, yeah, some guys may be labeled as dirty or whatnot, but like everyone's just making a living. And some guys, play hard and like I have total respect. Because it's not easy, man, to answer the bell and play that hard every single night. So major kudos.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite NHL city or NHL rink you've played in?
Montreal.
Besides Montreal?
Yeah, of course, away.
Boston's obviously at top of the list. Who has a really cool barn that I didn't know was Dallas. Like,
Ooh,
really,
yeah, American Airlines.
really good crowd. Like, the fans were really into it. Like, good music. So I was pleasantly surprised in Dallas. Carolina was cool. They get pretty rowdy down there for sure. Tampa. Honestly, a lot of the southern states, like, I feel like they're sleepers.
Tax-free states.
Seriously, like, I feel like they have great crowds.
I mean, people are just overall more just happier living there.
Dude,
They're just getting more sun.
Yeah.
But Montreal, like, I like, for example, Z won the Kelly Cup with the Florida Everblades in the ECHL, and they got a lifetime free golf, right? At a great course.
No way, I didn't know that.
Lifetime membership.
Yeah. Listen.
That's nasty.
You got to talk to the boys in Montreal, because if you guys win the cup, I think you live for free for the rest of your life. I think you get free housing, like realtors, free food, free for the rest of your life. Like that city, dude, that city is insane for hockey. Like if you guys win the cup, that city, you're good. You're good forever. I mean, that's a city to play hockey in my opinion.
It is pretty wild. Like I've gotten a chance to hang out with Chris Nyland a few times.
Yeah.
Who played at Northeastern and played in Montreal.
Knuckles.
And like Knuckles, he's the best. Like he had us over for dinner at his house, like the nicest guy ever. And some of the stories, like when they won the cup, it was just like St. Catherine Street, so like the main street, like Newbury Street in Boston. Like a mile of fans, and it's just mayhem. And like you still see like a lot of the alums around the rink, and there's so much respect for them. And so much love for them. Like it really is a legacy up there, and you just try to go out there every night and you know, you put on that jersey and you know how much comes along with it, which is an honor, you know, and that's a privilege. Like you say, like pressure is a privilege. It is to be able to play for an organization like that. So it's really, really cool.
Original. Oh yeah, that's awesome. And real quick, this is my last question, but I'm just wondering what's that room like? You mentioned Slavkovsky, but you guys have a young group as a whole. Like I talked about Pizzetta and Wi-Fi, like those are your heavies, and they're like Pizzetta's a 98. I think the Wi-Fi kid's like a 2000 or an 01. I don't know. He's young, but you guys have a ton of young guys. What's that locker room like? Is it light? Is it a pretty fun time?
Yeah, it is pretty light. Especially with Cole on the team, you know, he keeps it pretty light and energetic, and we have a good group of younger guys. Like everyone takes it really seriously, and I think we have a good mix of older and younger guys, which is nice.
Who's the well, not old guy, but who's the vet that kind of shows the ropes?
Yeah.
We have a few, especially on the DN, just so I interact with them more, like Edmondson, who's in Washington now. David Savard is the best guy ever. Like
he's a big unit, huh?
Yeah, like he soaks more pucks than anyone I've ever seen in my life. But like he's the best. Like he's the nicest guy. Matheson, who had a great year. Like just learning from these guys, and everyone leads in their own way, you know. And I think you can pick up a little bit from anyone that you're around. Like even Suzuki, like he's a younger guy, but like you can learn a lot from him just watching the way he goes about it himself, and it's really impressive, you know, what he's done at such a young age for the organization. But it really is a good mix, you know. Gallagher, like on the forward end, and a lot of guys who may be older, but like they're young at heart, you know, and that's great.
Yeah, I love that guy's grit, Gallagher.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's legit. Well, Jordo, that's all I've got. You got anything else?
No, I'm good, bro. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been unreal. Like a Montreal Canadian.
Thanks, boys.
From Boston. Like Knuckles. That's really cool.
Like Knuckles, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, and thanks, Zach. Like I said before, I've learned a ton from you. And, you know, looked up to you and still do. So I think it's great what you guys are doing. So
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I was telling Nico before this, I'm like, man, I actually learned so much from this guy. Like he was such a dog.
He was talking to me about how shredded you are. It sounded like he almost wanted to make out with you. He's like, dude, I'm talking about pack. I'm talking about shredded guys. Like,
Jordo, you're the man, dude.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.